When people think about FNAF Help Wanted, they usually imagine stuff like gameplay and the lore. But what I want to talk about today is the music. More specifically the song Creepy Freddy, and why it's probably one of the eeriest songs I've ever heard in a video game. Unfortunately, no one ever seems to talk about it or even mention it. And for that reason alone, I wanted to shed some light on the song and hopefully get you guys to have a little more appreciation for it. Some of you are probably wondering what song I'm even talking about, and I honestly couldn't blame you. Maybe you'll recognize it now. The first thing I want to go over before we analyze the song itself is the context in which you hear it. As you guys might know, you play as a beta tester in the game. Your supposed goal is to find any glitches in the game as you play through it. It sounds pretty unsuspecting and rather normal for a concept, but as you go through the game, you eventually encounter Glitch Trap. On your first playthrough, this initially creeps out the player as it wasn't expected. Since he doesn't really seem to do anything, you continue to play through the game like normal. Eventually, when you complete the first 4 nights of the different games, you have to pull a switch which takes you to this weirdly colored room. It's the exact same as the regular hub, but with only a couple of differences. Yes, it has the color change as mentioned before, but it also has this really creepy music playing in the background. At this point of the game, Glitch Trap is probably closer than he was before. It makes it feel almost as if him and the song are one, almost as if it's his theme. The eerie music paired with the mysteriousness of Glitch Trap make what is already a horrifying song on its own that much scarier. I guess the next question I should ask is, what makes music creepy? Well, I want to start off with choosing another example of a song that pulls off the same kind of eeriness feeling that I get while listening to this one. If you guys have ever played through Pokemon Black or White, you might have heard the theme N's Room. The song seems to be some sort of a music box, which is appropriate seeing as it's a bedroom for a child. Although the song is creepy on its own, it somehow gets even worse in the sequels. In Black and White 2, you can still find N's room, but this time it's all destroyed. The toys are everywhere and the lights barely seem to be working, if at all. You might expect to hear the same song you did last time, but you couldn't be more wrong. Well, I guess that's not true, as the same song does play, but this time it's way more distorted. Did you get a chill down your spine listening to that? I honestly couldn't blame you if you did. Yeah, sure, the song was really creepy, but what does it have to do with Five Nights at Freddy's? I'm not sure if it's just me, but the song Creepy Freddy gives off almost the exact same vibes as N's Room. Why? Well, let's analyze the similarities. First of all, why was N's Room such a creepy song in the first place? If the differences were too subtle, I'll explain. The theme in the first game was creepy because humans just seemed to be naturally unnerved when listening to music box type songs. Take the music box theme from FNAF 2 for example. Sure, it wasn't absolutely terrifying, but I definitely say it was unsettling. Not to mention the fact that we've heard it so much that it probably doesn't bother us as much as it used to when we first heard it. But what differences from the first song to the second one make the latter so creepy? It's the timing. It may sound weird at first, but hear me out. With the first song, it sounded fairly normal. The beat was normal, and all in all, it just sounded like another music box. But when compared to the other song, it sounds broken. Almost as if it's not even a song anymore. But it barely sounds close enough to the first one to still be able to tell that it was part of the first one at some point in time. And I feel like that is what makes Creepy Freddy so, well, creepy. It sounds like a song, sure, but it sounds worse than a regular song because of all the pauses and stops throughout. That paired with the fact that a lot of the notes throughout the song sound so mystical and airy, almost as if you're floating, makes it way more eerie. Without the song sounding so distorted, it would probably be just as creepy and unsettling as the first theme for End's Room. Another thing I noticed about the song while listening to it again before I wrote the script was the ending. Unfortunately, since the song plays in the main hub, players don't get to listen to the whole thing because they're off to play the next game. But what I noticed was something that boosted my appreciation for the song even more than it did before. Near the very end, the song plays like normal, but then the music fades out rather dramatically, almost suddenly. It completely caught me off guard when hearing it. But the worst part wasn't that, it was the silence. When the music fades away, it is completely silent for nearly 10 seconds. Although I knew I was just listening to the song, I had an overwhelming feeling that a random jump scare was coming out of nowhere. Of course there wasn't one, but in all honesty, I think that's what makes it even scarier, not knowing. I think part of the reason why I felt this way was because in FNAF 1, when you run out of power, it also goes silent. Throughout the whole game, you can hear a lot of creepy things ranging from laughter to Foxy's humming and of course the buzzing of the fan. But when all that noise just disappears in an instant, it automatically sends your brain into panic mode. Whether you know it or not, Freddy's coming for you, and all you can do is just sit there while you wait for the time to turn to 6 AM or until your demise. And I kid you not, I got almost the exact same feeling listening to the end of this song. So sure, that's why the song is creepy, but the next big question is, why is it forgotten? Well, I have a theory for that too. When flipping the switch for the first time, you notice the music almost immediately as it's so jarring. You stop and look around at your surroundings, but after a few seconds, you snap back into reality and continue to play the game just as intended. This brings a huge disservice to the song, as no one just stops and listens to the song, but instead just continue their way through the game. But if you take the time to just listen to it for a couple minutes, you really come to appreciate the song for its creepiness and context it's in. Some of you watching may say, well, yeah, sure, it's a creepy song, but I personally didn't find it scary at all. And to that I have to say, that's a fair opinion, but I have a theory for that too. Since people play this game to actually, well, play it, they're off to go play the game, which mind you is a horror game. But I believe the problem is that everyone is so distracted and caught up in the actual gameplay itself that they don't take the time to stop and appreciate this masterpiece. If you took the music away from the game and just listened to it by itself, I feel like more people would enjoy it as much as I do. So I implore you, please go listen to the song in its entirety after this video is over, and I almost guarantee you that you'll like it a lot more than you thought you did. And that is what makes this one of, if not the most creepy song I've ever heard in all of gaming. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's not the sort of video I usually make, but this is something that I've thought about for years and no one else seems to have talked about it, so I feel like I had to do it some justice. Like always, I'll see you guys in the next one, and remember to smile. You are the face of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.